All right, next up, we are going to go ahead and get this back face trim installed. And then on the underside, this piece of trim kind of captures this and then screws up into the bottom. I am going to run, I think, just a bead of this ProFlex on the underside lip here where it mates there. Make sure, it surrounds all the holes, and I think that that'll be okay. We're definitely getting a nice bit of that sealant coming out here, which is exactly what I wanted. All right, I treated the sealant on this one similar to the lower piece in the back, where I ran an inner bead, an outer bead, and then a loop around each fastener hole. Happy about that. We now have our long piece of trim installed on the under edge with sealant. We've got the back piece of trim here installed with sealant. I have these screws in right now just to help suck this piece in, because the ring frames that come around actually screw through that. And because they're not installed right now, and I have sealant here, it was flaring out pretty good. So those just are keeping a little bit of tension there while the sealant cures. Okay, I've been evaluating the pieces of trim that I have left to put on. I think order of operations needs to be this piece first prior to putting on the side rails. So I've already put adhesive. Again, this one did not have butyl tape on it originally. So we did the adhesive method again, going around each screw hole. And then I'm also going to cake it all up in these mating areas to make sure we've got plenty of sealant in there, so that we can hopefully, again, avoid any water coming into these locations. So I'm going to hit this corner and that corner. Then we'll bring over the hurricane hinge and we will bolt it into place. I'm probably going to line up at least the right-hand side and pre-drill all of them, because again, brand new wood, no existing holes. Over here, there are existing holes, but just not under this outer layer. So lining up that piece of trim, both of these pieces of trim for this side, those screws should find their homes. I need to crack open a new can of sealant. New can of whoop ass! I'm just going to start with the first 3 here. That'll give us enough bite into the wood, and then I'll just drill and screw as I go. So here you can see what I mean when I say this trim overlaps it. It doesn't just stop at the edge. It actually, in order to sit flush on the outside, we get some overlap there. Then we'll have some more of that black trim that inserts in here. Obviously that goes up there. And then on this side, we actually have our seal, which we will install after we get all the trim done. So I've just marked out a few of the pilot holes for this outer trim. I'm going to drill those, and then we're going to get the butyl tape installed on the inside of this. Rinse and repeat. I'll get them all torqued down again, just like I've done before, once I get them all installed. All right, we are back in the shop. I feel like I just continue to say that because I get an hour of work in maybe one night a week. So it's dragging on, but we're making some good progress. Ooh, a couple things, unrelated, but a couple shop updates. Pretty excited. Got me a new toolbox. Home Depot had these green ones on sale. Like this one was $800 and the exact same toolbox in black was $1,100. And I like that better anyway. And I had an old box, so I sold that, which actually pretty much paid for the new one. Happy about that. And I'm much more excited about this than I should be, but I'm finally getting rid of the Kinkmaster 2000 hose. And I scored that at an estate sale the other day. So finally have a plumbed, retracting air hose. The next thing I really need is the same thing, but for electric. But we're taking it in baby steps because I don't want to buy that shit brand new. It's too expensive. All right, on to the camper. Got my morning go-go juice. Here's where we're at. Last I showed you, we got this trim installed, inside and outside. Looking delicious. Went ahead and got the left side installed as well. You didn't need to see that twice. Believe it or not, I think we're pretty much at the point where I'm ready to throw the hatchback on. We've got this half of the hurricane hinge installed. It's got sealant all under it, and we've got a bead of sealant running down the top edge. I may even come back and do a bigger fillet of sealant along there just to make sure we're good to go. Obviously, I still need to do the inside on both. Look, I need to scrape off the old shit on this side and put on new sealant. And then this side, I just need to put on new sealant on the inside fillet, I guess. Mary's downstairs working out. That thing is definitely a two-person job to get lifted up and slid into place. So there's a couple things I need to do. One, just need to clean the surface areas and everything, get that prepped and ready. And then I need to get our gas struts installed so that way when we do get that popped in, it can be supported. I may also just go ahead and install the seals that run along here, since I want to let her get her workout in. Let's get to it. All the dust and everything and fingerprints, I'm going to go ahead and give these a quick wipe down with some alcohol, just so we got a nice clean surface for that adhesive to stick to for the seal. So it took me a while to find the exact seal to match what was coming down the side here. And it's a hollow ribbed D seal, essentially. So I ordered exactly what I needed to get the two sides. Got delivered. I'm excited. Then I realized I forgot to order enough for the bottom edge. So I ended up running to the auto parts store, because that shit was pretty expensive per foot. And I picked up this other weather seal, which is similar, but it's not hollow. It's a solid core. Still that cushiony foam. So we'll try that out along the bottom edge, and hopefully that works. And you know what? Maybe my measurement was off. Oh baby, I do have enough. Guess who's getting his 15 bucks back for that extra roll of weather strip from AutoZone? This guy. And right or wrong, I don't know, but I'm putting just an extra little bead of this sealant right around the perimeter of each of these screw heads. We obviously are going to have trim running around the top of it, but I have to assume water will get in. So I'm just, again, trying to eliminate as many water ingress points as feasibly possible. I think an easier way to do this is just to start it at one end and slide it. But since I just ran all that fresh sealant, I didn't want to drag along all that stuff. So I'm just doing the pinchy method. I'll go ahead and get the other side knocked out. And then we will run the weather stripping along this bottom edge. We'll be ready to go bug the misses. So we already have our existing holes on this left-hand side because we did not replace that piece. However, on the right-hand side, smooth as a baby's bottom. So I need to figure out dimensionally, probably going to come up from the table and then back from the wall to try to locate the matching one on the right-hand side. And then if you recall, behind this piece, we had an additional piece of plywood that we put in as a backer for additional strength for those screws to bite in. 16, 19, 11. 16 inches back.
Holy shit.
So that's gonna bolt on right there.
Oh, hi.
Mary just got done with her workout. You know what that means. About time to help John.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Told you she was gonna love it.
I decided.
Mary, when she realizes she has to help me lift something overhead after a workout.
Oh.
I'll give you a few minute break. I still got a couple things to do. Okay, so here's the game plan. It's different than when we took it off because I took this whole piece off with it.
Okay.
So if you come down here, you can see there's a channel in here.
Uh-huh.
That side's got some sealant in it, but we're sliding it in this way.
Alright.
As long as it clears the roof rack, so I guess we'll see. Or the awning.
Yeah.
But, so we need to get it lined up. So I can probably take this front side to get it started. And then it should just slide straight down. What I might do, actually, to help the sliding,
Always use lube.
yeah, we use a little silicone lubricant. Alright, that should help it slide. We'll obviously have to support it up, and then we'll just swing these up in place and they'll clip in, and then I've got the little clips here to capture it.
Okie dokie. Hold on. Okay.
Okay, and then just come over here and walk to the end of the table. There you go.
Ta-da!
I forgot to hit the record button. Well, you just really just missed out on a bunch of struggles. So we got it slid in and it's in place. So I guess now we can see if it closes.
Da, 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 da. I'm nervous. Are you nervous? Ooh. Ooh.
The locks I might need to adjust a little bit on this side because I had to add in that plate, but
Ooh.
holy shit!
Ooh.
It is coming along. I'm gonna double check that everything looks good seal wise, but. And then I'm also gonna come through and because there was a hole through here that I could see daylight through. So I think I'm just gonna also apply just a nude bead of sealant all the way around this inside perimeter. I can see some old stuff there. So we'll just redo that, but it fits. It fits. My work is not complete, but we're making some progress. Good deal. All right.
Whoop, whoop.
Success. Boom.
Boom.
Mary, thank you for all your hard work.
You know, it's been a real struggle.
Mm-hmm.
I put a lot of time and effort into this.
Yeah, you've been killing it.
Yeah.
I don't know what we would have done without you.
I don't know either.
We are now tackling this front tongue box. If you'll recall, when I would open it, this back edge was already so close to touching here that as it would open up, it would just grind against here, and now it's got a pretty decent wear mark all along the camper. So we need to shift it out. The issue with that is you can see the handle now. I've already shifted it out. It's not bolted in. I'll show you what my plan is. But our handle's touching it, so that's obviously not going to work all this as is. So the underside of the box was sitting back here just on these 3 shitty electrical taped pieces of rubber. And there's a lot of flex in it, and that's kind of shitty. And I don't know that I need to have any rubber isolation in there. I still might get a thin strip of rubber just to give it a little cushion. So obviously, getting rid of that shit. Also glad I'm doing this because the terminal on the positive was literally just vice gripped on to this last little bit of the wire, and it literally just popped off. So we're going to be redoing that. The negative looks like it was properly crimped, but whoever did the positive terminal, I don't know what the hell they were doing. So game plan. I had some of this unistrut from when I had the rooftop tent on my roof rack. So I cut it to length for this back section, and that's going to sit right about here across all 3 of those beams. And then the front piece, I just ran a shorter one, and I've got one of the U-bolts that was holding the box on. It's going to run through these 2 holes and clamp underneath this part of the tongue. The back, obviously I have the unistrut bolted to the box, but I don't know yet how I'm going to attach it to the frame. I know that there's various unistrut attachments. I might just run to Home Depot and see if they've got anything that fits the bill. If not, we'll figure out something. Right. Oh, also in case I didn't mention it, let's grab you here. Another one of the reasons I went with this unistrut, besides it being free because I already had it, was because you can see it is taller than this step up on the tongue. So originally the box sat and butted up just against the front edge of this. So in order to move it forward far enough, we had to lift it up higher. So this unistrut was perfect for that. We've got clearance here, and we could scoot the tongue box as far forward as we want within reason. So obviously, not only do I want the handle to clear, but I want to have additional space for when your hand's wrapped around it. I don't really want this to be a knuckle buster. So I already kind of roughly looked at it. I think if my handle was shifted this way pretty much 2 inches, so about to where this line is, that'll still give us clearance. And this thing doesn't take a lot of torque. This handle doesn't take a lot of torque in order to lift up the trailer. So obviously by shortening this moment arm, we're not going to be able to put as much torque into the jack to raise it, but I don't really think we need it. So I'm going to pop this cap off and pull this handle out. And I think I'm going to throw some heat at it and try and bend it here where I want the arm to be. And then I'm going to have to straighten this section out and then try and rethrow the handle on there. The handle's sort of, it's not quite riveted, but they expanded the end of this pin. So I might have to figure out another way to get the handle on there. It's going to take a little jerry rigging, but we got to do something. And I was looking at other jack options, and right now nothing else seems to make sense. All right, I'm not saying this is for sure going to get me the results I want, but I am at least bending it. We're pretty close. Still has a little hitch in its giddy up. It is not perfect, but it's pretty dang close. And the handle fits. So that's good, and this is getting pretty hot in my hand. Now that we've straightened that section out, again, the bend was here, and we're gonna shift it to here. So we're gonna try and take this and go boink. Obviously it's gonna be pretty long, so we'll cut it to length. I feel like that's decent. Handle still goes on. I hate power tapping holes. This always happens. I even lubed that up. Well, it's sheared off completely, and there's no way I'm getting that out. So I'm going to take a guess at how far in that piece is left. I'm going to cut the handle shorter. That's obviously going to mean that the black handle is going to extend too long. So I may end up having to cut the handle shorter in length as well as a plastic handle. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to touch base when I have this complete because I'm pissed off right now. Oh, let's get the jack put back together, and we'll throw it on and see if it all works out. Let's go. Very easy to still raise that. And she's no longer a knuckle buster. Next thing on the outside of the camper, a little bit of lighting. If you'll recall, what was on the camper is broken. No, they worked fine, but super shitty, faded old lights. They are LED, but kind of junky. Didn't like them. So, what did I do? Amazon special. Found these bad boys. Nice looking. I'm sure they will turn a lovely whitish gray in a matter of 3 months. But they fit the bill. They were able to cover up the existing holes there. So I filled those with sealant, and I also surrounded the wires where they pass through the camper with sealant. These are not great. They come potted, except not fully, so they missed a section. So I gooped a bunch of silicone in there. It is super tight with the wiring. Not a great setup, but got those wired in. And one of the nice things about these is they are both, or they're either white or amber. So when you turn on the light switch the first time, they're white. Turn it off, turn it back on, amber. Which is great for white lights, for, you know, a little bit better for doing some tasks around camp. Amber is certainly better if you got bugs in the air or if you're just wanting a little softer lighting. So I'm happy about that. So I've already got this one butt spliced in. All is looking well. Again, Amazon special. They come with this backer plate that goes in here, but either way, you have these gaping holes that have nothing to fill them. So obviously it's a major water ingress point. So once I get this screwed in place, I'm going to goop a bunch of stuff into each of these end holes, and I'm going to run a bead of sealant around the perimeter. And I think that should be good. And again, I've made sure to seal off anything inside, so God forbid some water does get in there. Hopefully it never enters inside the camper. Oh, another thing I forgot to mention, which if you end up buying these same lights, which I do like them at least functionality wise, but they're not without their faults. Any screw you put in here, even if you use the ones that came with it, absolute hot dog down a hallway. We're gonna have to goop just a bunch of sealant and shit in these holes just to make sure water doesn't get in. I'm convinced these were designed to allow water in and never let it back out. So take that into consideration if you want to pick these up. I will be the test dummy. Happy to do so. And time to get gooping. I'm just gonna cram this full. Hate to be the next guy that has to take this off. All right, we're gonna let that cure up, and then I'm gonna come back and hit it with some of the same sealant I put on every other exterior surface on the camper. Do a nice solid bead around it. This is a silicone that I just used. I'm not saying that's the best, but I'm almost out of the other sealant. And I think it's pretty minimal as far as exposure to sunlight and UV and all that. So I'm okay with it. And that other sealant says it does bond well to silicone. So I think we should get a nice waterproof surface, or a nice waterproof surround. So we're gonna head over to the other side, knock that out. So we got it installed. Again, we're gonna wait till this sealant dries, and then we'll run a bead of the other external sealant around it, and we'll be good. But this is what I was talking about. When you turn them on initially, they're white, but if you turn them off and turn them back on, same switch, you get ambers. So it's nice to have that flexibility whenever you're at the campsite. You don't have to have different lights set up or multiple switches. It's all built into these lights, which is actually pretty slick. I haven't seen that before. Time will just tell how long they last. What do you think, bud? Is that pretty light? Huh? Is that pretty light? Ooh, yellow. White. Yellow. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, buddy. We're on the driver's side right now, and you can see we obviously still have our fender well attached. The passenger side, we're gonna have to get it welded back on, but I know I mentioned this before while we're at it. These are supposed to be stand-on rated, and while we can stand on them, it definitely flexes a little bit, and I'm not a fan of that. So we're gonna beef this shit up a little bit while we're in here, especially because on one of these wheel wells, I'm gonna be putting my spare tire mounted on it. We're going to end up mounting a piece here, and it's gonna be flushed up like height-wise here, but you gotta get that cut at a 60-degree angle, and then that side's gonna get cut at a 30-degree angle. And I'm actually gonna end up making these bolt in. So I'm gonna have a similar situation here where they've got these, what do they call them? Riv nuts, essentially, that are installed. So I'll have 2 of those in this piece of steel and 2 of them in the underside of the frame. And then this is actually just gonna end up getting bolted into place. So I can take it off if need be. This side on the right is going to be what attaches to the fender. So I had to do through holes on that 35-degree angle. And that's because we're bolting it in place, not welding it. So this gives me access holes to get in there with my socket and bolt it on. Pop it in there. You'll hold on to that nut while you press in, then you tighten it. And do this until it flares that nut out completely, and you'll hit a lot of resistance, and that's when you'll stop. And now we have our rib nut installed. All right, she's in. Well, one side down. I'm pretty happy with that. So, a couple things. One, I definitely did break my finger. Not like a full snap, but I fractured up near that knuckle on the old trigger finger, so that's a bummer. I'm supposed to go to the range next week. Guess I get to practice lefty some, but we have on both sides our new braces installed. Got the tire mount also painted, and there's still definitely some play in between the fender Ended up welding on a front hook here for a tie down point for a strap to come over the top. And then on the back side, I welded this strap here for, again, another hook to tie in there, ratchet it down, and then like I said, I will cable lock the wheel to the rack so that nobody wants to walk off with it. And we are almost done. I think on this next video, we'll dive into the electric and we'll call it. So once again, thank you guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.